Whether you've been in business for just a few months or a few years, it's essential to set up your business the right way from the start. That means having systems and processes to maximize your efficiency and your productivity. And it's important whether you work on your own or you work with a team, because if you work on your own, your time is very limited and it's valuable. So you want to make sure that what can be automated is automated, what can be delegated is delegated, what can be eliminated can be eliminated, and you are clear on your role in your business. Then if you have a team, obviously having proper systems and processes is essential because you're working with other people, and ideally everybody's going to work with the same systems. So today I want to talk to you about the CRM tool I'm using, client management tool. It's Dubsado. I've talked about it in a previous video. I want to tell you about the best feature, which is the workflows. Dubsado workflows will allow you to automate as much as you can so that you can maximize your efficiency, stop doing the same things over and over again. And this is what I'm going to talk to you in a minute. Hey, I'm Chris, director of KVM Design, an online firm that supports interior designers worldwide with their workload. By outsourcing to us, these designers can free up some of their time to focus on the key areas of their projects, nail their deadlines, stress less, and by delegating most of the technical stuff, they're able to build a sustainable business while they create the lifestyle that suits them, and they can take on more projects because they only focus on the key areas of each project. When I got started with KVM, the goal was to help these designers with their technical work. So that was the 2D, 3D, presentation work. But I noticed that a lot of their overwhelm came from not having systems and processes that work. They didn't really understand what it meant. And as a result, they were doing the same task over and over again. I also noticed that a lot of my clients are not exactly clear on what it is that they should be doing as a CEO of their company, what can be easily automated and what can be delegated. So they just pick a few tasks here and there to delegate, but they're really not clear about the entire process and how to maximize the efficiency in their business. Although I'm not officially offering this service yet, I've just started helping some of my clients because I've myself hired someone to set up my onboarding workflows in Dubsado. It's a little bit tricky if you don't understand how it works. So having someone who understands everything about the program is going to be really useful. So I've just started offering that service unofficially to my clients, and I've helped them doing some different things. So first we need to get on a mapping call because I want to understand, and I've noticed that they don't themselves understand what is the step-by-step that they take from lead capture to onboarding to offboarding those clients. So everything that happened during their entire projects. And this mapping call really helps them understand what tasks are always the same. And so for me, it helps me understand, okay, so can we automate that? And how are we going to do it? So then I create a map of everything that is happening. So then I create a map to show them the step-by-step. We agree on the step-by-step. And then I go into Dubsado and I start setting up their client management software. I know a lot of you want to start using a CRM tool. You're wondering if Dubsado is the right tool for your business. In today's video, I'm going to show you a little bit more about the Dubsado workflows, because I've noticed that a lot of my clients are not using this feature. They're using Dubsado to keep track of their clients, but they're not using the workflows. And the workflows will allow you to automate a lot of the process from lead capture to onboarding, and then maybe some of the steps during the project lifetime. So I wanted to do this little intro video to the workflows for you to see if it could be useful to your business, if it could save you time and a lot of the stress that comes with not being very organized. Are you ready? Let's go. Like, this is a map that I did for one of my clients. We did a 2-hour mapping call where we discussed everything that she was doing, from the inquiry form on her website to what we would like to happen. For example, she would manually send an email to people inquiring on her website to ask them what she could help them with, what the project was about. And this was taking obviously a lot of her time because she was doing that for every person who was filling out the form on her website. Very time consuming, not necessary. And the thing is, because she had so many inquiries, then she would not really follow up with them if they didn't answer, within 2 days, which is kind of a shame because sometimes people forget when they receive your email, they don't really have time to answer, and then they completely forget about you. So the way that we want to think about everything is, in an ideal world, if you had a lot of time, would you follow up with these people? So that's how we thought about everything that would happen between the moment someone sent an inquiry on her website all the way to, getting on a discovery call with them, then having the in-house consultation, then sending them a first invoice. Actually, this was the invoice for the consultation, and then all the way to onboarding them. So the part I'm helping her set up in her Dubsado is from lead capture all the way to the onboarding, where she sends, the invoices have been sent, the contracts have been sent, proposal, welcome packet, everything. And then I've also mapped out the remaining steps that she's taking in her, like all the way to offboarding, because, there's a cool thing that you could do as well. When you finish a project, you could set up a workflow to remind you 3 months later to send a message just to see, are you happy in your space? Is everything okay with you? Can you send us, can you write a testimonial on our Facebook page or on Google? So this is the first step. You want to understand everything that happens, all the steps, and then map it out. And in this, on this map, on this workflow map, I already start to think about, okay, what are emails? What are forms? What are like calendars? What triggers what? So a trigger is, for example, if the client hasn't paid an invoice, send a reminder. So the trigger is that the person hasn't paid the invoice, so they will receive a reminder 24 hours after it's due, for example, to say that the invoice is overdue. So all of that is something that you need to put down, onto paper and try to think about what you can automate. That's always, a recurring task, something that repeats over and over and is the same for every client. So then what I wanted to do is give you a very brief overview about Dubsado. So what they call projects is, effectively, if you're an interior designer, it's just your clients. So that's where you have all your clients. It tracks all the leads that come through the website, and the different statuses. So depending on how you set up your workflows, it will change. The status will change depending on which part of the workflows they're at. And the jobs, it's when an invoice has been paid and they become your clients. There are a few things that you need to be aware before you even start setting up your workflows, because all of those will go into the workflows, and the workflows here, they will go into the workflows, so they need to be set up before you can actually do the workflow. So for example, the canned emails are all the emails that you can have templates for. They're going to be the same thing. So for example, this client of mine who wanted to send an email to say, hey, how can I help? What do you need? What is your project about? To be able to assess if this client was a good fit. Then we would write an email saying exactly that, because it's going to be the same for everybody. And the cool thing is that Dubsado has what they call smart fields. So for example, here you can add your logo, but then it has smart fields. So you don't have to put their name. Once that lead comes in, where they have to send their name, their phone number or email, then this will be automatically filled with the right name. And then you can write like the standard email, add whatever you need, and then it's going to send it with the smart fields. So it's really important that you first look at everything, all the emails that need to be sent, follow-up email, all of that, because then you are going to know which emails you're going to need to write inside the canned emails. Then the forms are also very important, because that's where you're going to have your contracts, sub-agreements, questionnaires. If you have, questionnaires that you want your leads to fill out, for example, you want to know more about their projects and you ask them, what room they need help with, what style they like. You ask them to send you photos. You would create a questionnaire, and then it's going to store all their answer within their client portal. Then the proposals, so you can have different proposals here. It could be like a welcome packet. It could be this one is because I give my clients the opportunity to pay for the hours that they need for different services. And then you have your lead capture forms. The really nice thing about Dubsado is that you can customize all your forms. So it looks really neat, because your brand your brand identity is consistent throughout like your website, social media platforms, even the client portal, and all these forms that you're sending your clients. So for example, this one is onboarding guide. So I'm taking them through different steps to get onboarded, and they can click on the buttons, they can review videos. So there's a lot of stuff, and all of that is made with my fonts, with my colors, with my logo. All of those you can make in Canva and then bring it in here. So it's very neat, and that's I really like about Dubsado. So so you have the canned emails, the forms, the scheduler, obviously. So you don't need to use Calendly, for example. You could just use the scheduler in Dubsado, and you can create different ones depending on. So this one is the free consultation. This one is the process mapping call for Dubsado, and you can choose the canned email that will go with the scheduler and you can add an email with the details for the call. So all of that can be a template email, and then you can also create reminders. So for example, 24 hours prior to the call, you can send them a reminder that the discovery call is coming up, and then you could send another reminder half hour before the call, that the call is in half an hour, and to send them the link again for the call. So this makes everything much easier because you don't need to think about all the steps or the reminders that you need to send people. Dubsado is going to take care of that for you. Then you can add your packages for all your services. And then when you create an invoice, the only thing that you need to do is to select the right package. Then what I really like about the payment plans is, let's say here, so you wanted to create installments for a project. You could create installments and at which date they're due. So it could be on day one, on first day of the second month, first day of the third month, and the invoices are sent. You can also create reminders if they're not paid when they're due. They're sent when you set them up. So if you work in a way that you allow your clients to pay in installments, this is a really good thing to do. But even if you did in full, if you had an option in full, you can still add reminders if the invoices aren't getting paid. You can send a reminder, maybe your invoice is due in 2 days, then your invoice is due today, then your invoice is past due. Please follow the link to pay your invoice. All of this you don't need to do yourself. You don't need to chase people for payments. You can just allow Dubsado to work for you. So then we have the famous workflows. I just want to say something about this. The workflows, there's no right way to do it. Depending on your business and the way that you like to work, you can set up your workflows in many different ways, and they're still going to work. So it has to be done in a way that makes you comfortable. For example, for my basic KVM services, the design services or the VA, all my KVM services, I have a few different workflows that I've set up, and you could decide that you only want one workflow per type of service. However, you have to imagine that this list would be, maybe 10 times longer. So it depends, if you like to have one list, but it's very long, or if you like to have different workflows and be able to understand at which stage the clients are at. Because when I go into my clients' projects, so the projects are the clients, I can see immediately on which phase they're at by just looking at which workflow is active. So let's say that I've sent the invoice. I haven't onboarded them yet, but I've sent the invoice. I will see immediately on their project dashboard that the workflow that's active is the send invoice one. So they're all related to each other so you see this one is the discovery call. And at the end of it, it's going to start a workflow when this specific trigger has happened. So the appointment is scheduled. So it's going to start a workflow that is called send invoice immediately after the appointment is scheduled. This is the trigger. So the way that you build your workflows is just simply following this that you did and trying to think, okay, so first, this is what I'm going to do. So when you have your lead capture form, you are going to connect it to your first workflow. I decided to add a tag, design outsource, because I want to know if it's mentoring clients, if it's design. So this specific lead capture form is related to the design outsource. So that's what I want the tag to be, so that I know which type of client it is and where they came from. So I know they come from my website. And then I change the status. Status, it can be, leads, invoice sent, invoice pending. You can have as many statuses as you want. That helps you get organized and understand where each of your prospect or client is at. So this is very much personalized, and there's no right way to do it. It's just the way that you like to organize everything in your business. Then you could send an email, an automatic email after they fill out the form. And all of this, if you see, there's always a trigger. So let's just go to, I'm going to show you a little bit. This is the last thing that I want to show you, because I can't show you everything in one video. It's going to be a very long video. I just want to show you that when you decide to add action, you can choose the action: change project, add tag, send email, send form, create to do. So one of the first actions that's going to probably happen once they fill out this lead capture form is that you're going to send them an email or a form. Maybe you want to send them a questionnaire straight up. So it really depends on what you want to do. You can activate the portal. Maybe once the invoice has been paid, you activate the portal. And this is the trigger. So for example, let's say that you want to send a form one day before an appointment start time. It asks you, to choose which scheduler, because this is an appointment. So what is the scheduler? It's the free consultation. So that's what it needs to watch out, because once you've scheduled an appointment, then it's going to be in the workflow, it's going to be in the system, and one day after, before the time of the consultation, it's going to send a form. You can decide to send an email and apply to portal, just apply to portal, or just apply to the project, which just stays for you. The client will not see it, but you will see it in their client in the client dashboard. Then you choose the form you send. So that's why it's important that you create all your forms and all your canned emails before you set up the workflows, because otherwise you're not going to be able to add anything here. So it looks complicated, but honestly, once you have it set up, I did pay someone to set up mine because I didn't fully understand how it worked. I think it's really important to have that professional look initially, but once you have someone setting up your, from lead capture to the onboarding, it's going to be much easier for you to understand how those workflows work, and you will be able to add more workflows as you start adding clients and you understand, oh, I could just automate that. I'm going to add a new workflow and I'm going to automate all of this. So for example, here I have created more sequences of, for example, the client purchased but didn't use the hours. So I want to send them more information again. I even have a workflow for the team onboarding. This is a basic overview of the workflows. The workflows are a great feature in Dubsado. I see a lot of my clients who use Dubsado, but they don't use the workflows. And to me, it's absolutely essential that you set up your workflows so that you can be more efficient, more productive, stress less, and just focus your attention on what really matters in your projects. I hope this was helpful. If you have questions, please leave a comment and I will answer it as soon as possible. Thank you.